It's funny how life has these strange patterns, isn't it? Like walking through a forest. Sometimes you pause at the edge of a path, unsure which way to go. It's as if a part of you wants to step forward, but another part hesitates, almost frozen in place, caught between the memory of past storms and the hope of new horizons. And yet, if you look closely, every step you've ever taken, it's already brought you further than you realise, hasn't it? Perhaps you've even forgotten how many times you've already succeeded in ways that seemed impossible at first. Remember those times when you just acted naturally, said the right thing without thinking too hard about it. How good it felt to be in the flow. Feel free from the weight of self-judgment. Just being. You can let yourself feel at ease again, can't you? And here's what's interesting. Conversations, connections, they aren't tests. They're dances. Sometimes slow, sometimes playful, sometimes a little messy. But always an opportunity to learn, grow and discover. And isn't it fascinating how the moment you stop trying to make it perfect, everything just starts to fall into place. Like a leaf drifting gently down a stream, effortlessly carried by the current. You can trust the flow. Mistakes become gifts, don't they? The best stories, they often come from the unexpected, the unpolished, the moments when life caught you off guard. You've seen it before. People laughing together over awkward moments. Deep friendships born from vulnerability. The truth is, people, they don't want perfection. They crave authenticity. Real connection. It isn't about saying the right thing. It's about showing up as you, curious and present, willing to explore what happens next. So what if every conversation became an adventure? What if every interaction was a chance to discover something new? Not just about the other person, but about yourself. What if each word, each glance, each moment of connection was another brushstroke in a beautiful, evolving masterpiece? You can start to feel that possibility opening up inside you, can't you? As you imagine that, notice how courage feels different from perfection. Courage is warm, expanding. It breathes. It allows room for play, for laughter, for spontaneity. Courage whispers, just take the next step. It reminds you every single person you meet is a little nervous too. They've all felt what you've felt, wondering if they'll be accepted, if they will belong. And here's the secret. The moment you stop worrying about how you're seen, you give others the freedom to do the same. And isn't it curious how curiosity, it changes everything? The more curious you are, the less space fear takes up. What is their story? What makes their eyes light up? What secret passions and hidden dreams do they carry? Just waiting for someone to ask. Suddenly, it's no longer about you. It's about the joy of discovery. So imagine that, being so captivated by the unfolding moment that you forget to be afraid. You find yourself smiling, leaning in, asking the next question and the next. You find yourself laughing without worrying if it's too loud. Listening without planning what to say next. And in those moments, something beautiful happens. Connection. Not forced, not perfect, but real. And you realise, perhaps for the first time, that loneliness isn't a life sentence. It's just a passing cloud. And clouds, they always move on, don't they? The sun is always there behind them, just waiting for you to notice it's warm again. The pressure melts away as you begin to see it differently. There's nothing to prove, nothing to win or lose. Just people, flawed, wonderful, endlessly fascinating people, who are waiting for someone exactly like you to show up, smile and say, hey, what's on your mind? So let go of that old idea that it has to be perfect. Let go of the need to script every word in advance. Let yourself be surprised, and remember, the more you allow yourself to enjoy the process, the more life will open up in ways you never expected. Because deep down, you already know how to do this. You've had these moments of connection before. You've smiled at strangers, laughed with friends, felt that spark of something real. That part of you is still there, stronger than ever, ready to guide you whenever you're willing to listen. As you start to notice all the opportunities for connection that are around you, you might even find yourself wanting to take the first step, not because you have to, but because it feels good to play, to joke, to have fun, to be curious again, to trust the unfolding adventure that every conversation brings. So why not let that part of you, the curious, playful, courageous part, lead the way? You can begin to feel it waking up now, smiling inside you, excited for what's next. And as it does, you can look forward to the next conversation, the next moment of connection, knowing you don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up. And isn't that enough? Because it's fascinating how much of our experience comes from what we choose to focus on. Have you ever noticed how, when you change your perspective, the world around you begins to change as well? It's like looking at a beautiful painting up close. So close that all you can see is the texture. But when you step back, you suddenly begin to realise the masterpiece was there all along, just waiting for you to see it from a distance in its entirety. And that right there is the power of shifting your focus. It's a small shift, but when you make it, everything falls into place effortlessly. And what if the same thing was true about how you engage with people? Imagine, instead of worrying about every little detail, every word, every reaction, you simply focused on one thing, curiosity. Just pure, simple curiosity. Because when you allow yourself to be curious, when you let yourself ask the questions, listen intently to the answers, then everything else just fades away. You become present in the moment, without needing to try so hard. The pressure lifts, doesn't it? You're no longer carrying the heavy weight of trying to be perfect. You simply become fascinated by the flow of life, the dance of conversation, and that is when the real magic happens. And just think about it for a moment, about the energy that you've felt when you've been truly interested in something. Maybe it was a book, or a project, or something you were passionate about. Remember how easy it was to engage, how the time flew by as you dove into it, the words flowing effortlessly, as if you were in the right place doing the right thing without a care in the world. That same ease can happen in any interaction. You already know how to feel that flow, because you've felt it before, haven't you? And it's simply a matter of tapping into it whenever you choose. Because the truth is, every time you shift your focus away from perfection and towards connection, something powerful happens. The conversation begins to unfold naturally. The words come together without effort, without thinking too hard about them. It's as if, in letting go of all the pressure, you make space for something much bigger, an opportunity to be real, to be authentic, and to find joy in the process. Isn't that interesting? That when you stop thinking about how you're perceived, you can enjoy the very process of being yourself. And isn't it fascinating how, when you stop forcing things to be a certain way, the very energy that you were seeking, the connection, the belonging, it appears effortlessly. You start to see what you feared was a barrier is actually just a bridge, waiting to be crossed. That little voice that said, "You're not good enough," or "You'll mess up," starts to fade away. And it realizes that you've already stepped beyond it. And in its place becomes a deeper understanding of the truth. You're worthy, not because you try to be perfect, but because you choose to be real. You choose to be human, and that, my friend, is more than enough. And in this moment, I want you to notice how freeing it is to let go of the idea of needing things to be flawless. The need to be perfect, the need to be right, begins to dissolve. It's almost like watching a fog lift, allowing the sun to shine through, warm, gentle, and steady. The more you embrace the freedom of imperfection, the more you discover that connection happens. Not when everything goes perfectly, but when you're willing to be open, to listen, and to embrace what unfolds naturally. Now let's imagine something else for a moment. Imagine yourself in a conversation, just starting to talk to someone that you've never met. And at first, there's a little flutter of nervousness. But instead of focusing on it, you breathe and you notice how your feet feel planted on the ground, how the air around you feels warm and comfortable. You smile and you begin to notice how they smile back. And in that moment, something amazing happens. You start to realize you don't have to do anything special. You simply have to show up, to be open, to enjoy the process. You don't have to be anyone other than yourself to make that connection. All the thoughts that once told you that you needed to be different, or that you weren't enough, they start to fade away. And now you begin to feel a deep sense of peace, because you've discovered something so powerful. The truth is, people, they don't care about perfection. They care about connection. When you let go of the pressure, you give yourself permission to experience the richness of life in its truest form. Every conversation becomes a game, a dance, a chance to explore, learn and grow. Isn't that a relief? The realization that it's never about getting everything right, but simply about showing up as you are and letting life unfold. It's almost like you've been given the keys to a treasure chest that was always right there in front of you. What's inside? Connection, belonging, joy, curiosity, adventure. Every time you engage, you discover more and more about yourself and others. And the more you embrace the process, the more you thrive in it. The less you focus on the end result. And the more the result finds you. So, with every word you speak, you're rewriting the story. Every time you engage with someone, you're choosing a new path. One filled with curiosity, one filled with ease, one filled with freedom. And as you begin to embrace that truth, you can feel how your confidence naturally grows. You begin to realize that, yes, you're worthy, you're enough, and you can engage freely with anyone. You're already powerful because you have the courage to show up as yourself, without the need for perfection, without the need to impress, simply present, simply open, simply you. And now notice the way the tension begins to dissolve. With every deep breath, with every moment you allow yourself to simply be, you release the pressure, you let go of the anxiety, and you step into something far greater, the pure enjoyment of connection, of sharing, of being. Every conversation is a gift, a chance to explore, and the more you allow yourself to step into this experience, the more the world opens up to you. What if this is how you always experience conversations? What if you're always this confident, this open, this free? You can begin to feel it now, can't you? That energy, that ease, it's already with you. All you have to do is trust it. What if this were just the beginning? What if every interaction that you had from now on was filled with curiosity, ease and connection? What would life look like if there was no pressure, no fear, only joy and discovery? The possibilities, they're endless, aren't they? And as you continue down this path, you can start to see how much more fun it is to simply be in the moment, to share, to laugh, to be curious, to listen. Life isn't a test, it's an experience. And you are the one who gets to decide how to experience it. So the next time you feel that flutter of hesitation, that old voice of doubt, you remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being real. And that, my friend, is the most powerful way to connect with the world that's around you. Isn't that amazing? You might have noticed over time how you've already experienced moments of connection. When you were talking with someone and everything just seemed to flow so effortlessly. It's almost like when you're watching the tide gently roll in and the rhythm of the waves becomes calming, soothing, almost magnetic. Now imagine, every time you meet someone new, every time you begin a conversation, it's like stepping into that flow, like being carried away by the current effortlessly. Just let that feeling of ease and relaxation sink in. Feel it. And here's something fascinating. Have you ever noticed how, when you stop thinking about how you're going to be perceived, everything just begins to feel different? Think about that for a moment. What would it feel like to let go of the pressure of being perfect? Just think about how much lighter that would feel. You might even begin to realize, in this moment, there's nothing to prove in any connection. Not to the other person, and certainly not to yourself. Isn't that incredible? You see, there's this magic that happens when you realize the only thing you really need to do is to show up and be yourself. Not only that, but the more you show up, open, curious and real, the more the world opens up to you. When you think about it, doesn't it make sense that the more you let yourself enjoy the process of meeting someone new, the more fun it becomes? You might even begin to notice how curiosity is your greatest ally, how it drives the conversation, leads you to explore new ideas, allows you to dive deep into what truly connects you with the other person. Can you feel that now? Imagine this for a moment. Every time you engage with someone, you could simply let go of all that old baggage, the fear, the worry, the tension, and just be open. No judgment, just curiosity. And the more you do that, the more natural it becomes. Feel that sense of ease right now, the freedom that comes when you step into that space. And what if in every conversation you started to feel even more relaxed, more confident, more at ease? As if the words that you needed, they were already there, just waiting to be spoken. That's right, imagine. Each time you speak to someone new, you can simply let go of any thought about being judged, about saying the wrong thing. Instead, you could embrace the idea that everything you say is part of the dance, part of the flow that leads to more connection, more understanding, and that you allow yourself to step into this dance. Notice how your body becomes even more relaxed. You're breathing deeper, and that sense of peace growing. Now I want you to remember a time, any time, when you felt deeply connected to someone, when you had a conversation that just felt effortless. Perhaps it was with a close friend, or even a stranger, but the moment you shared felt so natural. You didn't feel the need to impress them. You weren't thinking about what you're going to say next, because it just flowed. And the more you let yourself remember that moment, the more you begin to realize this is how it can always be. Every conversation just like that. You might even begin to notice at an unconscious level how that sense of ease is growing stronger each time you interact with someone. As you remember those times of effortless connection, you begin to realize it's available to you whenever you choose. In every conversation, the more relaxed you are, the more natural it becomes. And isn't it fascinating how when you allow the conversation to unfold naturally, it often leads to places you wouldn't have predicted, to unexpected connections, new friends, new perspectives, new opportunities. And the best part, it feels good. Now, take a deep breath and relax even further. And as you do, allow your mind to absorb this truth. Every conversation you have is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to connect in ways that feel exciting and freeing. The fear, the hesitation, the dread, all of it begins to dissolve as you step into each new interaction with ease. Imagine yourself greeting new people, starting new conversations, and feeling not only comfortable but excited. The joy you experience as you realize you don't have to be anyone other than you to have meaningful conversations. Feel that. And here's the thing. What if every time you engage with a new person, you discover it's easier than the time before? What if you find the more you focus on the other person, their thoughts, their interests, the more effortless the conversation flows? You already know how to do this. All you need to do is trust. It can be as easy as breathing, letting go of pressure, focusing on the other person, and realizing you don't have to be perfect. All you need to do is connect. Imagine that sense of freedom filling every cell of your body as you engage with anyone. You can feel that sense of comfort growing stronger and stronger, the tension just melting away. And as you do, you begin to notice how much you're enjoying the process, how easy it is to just step forward, curious and open, ready to discover more. What if every time you meet someone new, it's like a new adventure? Every conversation is a gift, a chance to connect, a chance to learn, a chance to grow. And notice how, when you take the pressure off, it becomes much easier to open up, to share, to laugh, and and to be yourself. And now notice how, with each breath you take, you can actually begin to trust that you'll always have what you need in every conversation. You'll always have the right words, the right questions, the right smile. Because in this space, where curiosity guides you, there's no need to fear. You simply step forward effortlessly into new connections. So, what would it be like if every conversation became just another opportunity to enjoy the process of connecting? You can feel how different it feels to approach people with an open heart. How much more natural it becomes to engage, to laugh, to ask questions, to listen, and to truly connect. And from this moment forward, you begin to notice how, with each new person you meet, the walls of hesitation, fear, and dread, they continue to melt away. The more you let go of worrying about the outcome, the more you find joy in the journey, and the more confident and relaxed you become. Because now you know, the only thing you need to do is to show up with curiosity and openness, and the rest will follow. It's that simple, isn't it?